Hi there, Kasama here. Are you ready to learn more about appraisal contingency? If that's you, you'll want to watch this video. Last week we talked about inspection contingency, and as I promised you, this week we're going to be going over the second and very important contingency, which is the appraisal contingency. As you may have heard, and if you haven't, let me tell you again, the market is going bananas! And what that means to you, whether you're selling or buying, is the appraisal contingency is the key piece for the buyer to be able to get the loan. So if they're purchasing a home with financing, in other words, they're not buying it all cash, well, you know what? Blessings to those people who can buy all cash. But there are the majority of buyers who are still having to get a loan, finance it, to be able to buy a house, right? Because we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. In some areas, it's millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? So with that, the appraisal is the key piece that basically brings the loan into the picture of the escrow, which is the purchase, the purchase contract. The lender will go ahead and order an appraisal for the subject property. So the property is now in escrow. The buyer's lender is ordering the appraisal to be done. The appraiser comes out, does their inspection, then goes back, creates an appraisal report. There is a video that I go into more detail about the appraisal process, and I'll mention that at the end of this video that you can watch. So once the appraisal is done, okay, in the contract, in the purchase agreement, you have the option of shortening the process, the number of days that the appraisal will come back, so that once the appraisal comes back, the buyer can then remove the appraisal contingency. That's very important because now the buyer is one step closer to getting the final loan part approved. So next week we're going to be talking about the loan contingency. Now, with the way the bananas market that we're in, it's very often now that when I represent the seller, so I have the ability to be able to see what kind of offers come in when I represent the sellers. The majority of my clients right now are sellers, okay? I'm also working with a handful of really great, committed, amazing buyers. So, having been on the other side of the table, reviewing offers with my sellers, I get to see what kind of offers come in and what kind of terms they put together. And what I can tell you is those offers, some of them, the buyer will literally remove the appraisal contingency up front. Now, that is not for everybody, so I'm not telling you all to go do that. That is not what I'm saying at all. It requires understanding. Your agent should be explaining that to you, what that means to remove appraisal contingency. It requires your agent explaining to you the upper range of what has been sold of that similar property and the lower range of it where it might end up appraising at. This is all speculative, right? So nobody has the crystal ball. Only the appraiser to that property is going to give you the appraised value. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the value that the lender is going to get behind with funding that loan. So whatever that magical number is, when the buyer and their agent submit an offer where they waive the appraisal contingency, what that means is it does not matter what value the appraisal comes in at. The buyer saying, listen, this is the offer that I've given you. If the appraisal comes in here, I'm going to fill it with cash out of my pocket. I'm going to bridge that gap. So Mr. Seller, I'm still guaranteeing you that purchase amount that's on the contract. So I am waiving, you still have to get the appraisal done because the lender requires it to be able to fund the loan, right? But the buyer is saying, I will make up the difference if there's any shortfall on the appraisal. Waiving the appraisal contingency has become quite a powerful tool, offer submission in this competitive market. And if you didn't hear me the first 2 times, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. First of all, you gotta have that, remember that bridging that gap? You gotta have the funds to be able to back your word should the appraisal not come in, right? So you gotta be able to deliver the good if that comes. Not everyone is willing to do that, to give up the secure chunk of cash that they may have. So that's okay. You don't waive the appraisal contingency and you come in based on what is going to appraise that. You may be able to guarantee a specific X dollar amount to cover the appraisal shortfall, not maybe all of it, but some of it. Again, this is something that you need to understand better if you're a buyer. Talk to your agent about that. But I can tell you that based on the offers that I have seen with my own eyeballs, not what other people tell me because I represent sellers, I can tell you that a lot of those offers that have some of these clauses around the appraisal make their offers stronger. Something to keep in mind until we go back to the normal market. I don't know when that's going to be since we don't have enough inventory. We're still short listings and we have a whole lot of demand, a lot of buyers because rates are still so great. We're in this competitive market and you're just wondering, how am I going to win in this craziness of this banananess of the market? That may be one way you need to look at. So learn more, understand more about appraisal contingency. Get with your agent, get educated, get equipped on it. There is no guarantee, so I'm putting out a disclaimer. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not the professor. I'm speaking to you from what I'm seeing in the Northern California market right now. We're all doing our best as real estate agents to serve our clients and to educate them and to inform them of the various strategies. Right now, believe it or not, it's all about strategies to get your offer submitted so that you could be chosen or at least you would receive a counteroffer from the seller. That's what I've got for you today about appraisal contingency. Take a moment to watch the video that expands a little bit more about what it means to go through an appraisal process. That may be helpful to you. Thanks for watching.